Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining with us today. We are here with Michelle, and she is going to go over our ProLiteracy benefits, which is really exciting because this could really benefit you all. So I'm just going to let her take it away. And
okay, great.
go.
I've got some slides I'm going to share. So if you could, I'm going to share my screen. Launch my.
Give you some host then. Here we go.
Hold on one second. I'm not used to doing this on one computer screen. There we go. Second. Okay, can everybody see the welcome sign, ProLiteracy and overview of resources and tools?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. Sorry, it took me a little doing to get there. So I'm going to just give you, I'm going to start with an overview of even resources that anybody can take advantage of, and then I'm going to drill down to the resources that are just available to members. So to start off, we host a great deal of webinars. Especially during the pandemic, we were hosting webinars, almost a different webinar every week. And they were topics that people needed at the time: fundraising in a pandemic, ideas from the field, distance education, because some programs weren't really ready for that immediate jump to distance learning. So we always try to do topics that are timely. There's always time for Q&A. And if you attend the webinar, if you're there, you would get anybody who registers gets the recording afterwards, the slide deck, and an info sheet. And the people who are actually present for the webinar also get a certificate of attendance. And we schedule our webinars we have a calendar right on our website. So if you're ever looking to see what webinars are coming up, you can just go to that website. There's also an abundance of grant opportunities, and I'm going to focus on the three major grant opportunities that ProLiteracy offers for which you can apply. The first is our newest fund. It's the Literacy Opportunity Fund. It was started with a huge grant from Nora Roberts Foundation. And what's particularly appealing to people about this particular fund is the grants are unrestricted. So that means if you needed to buy clipboards or laptops or, office expenses, things that sometimes most grants won't let you spend money on. This is unrestricted. And if you can make your case and win the grant, you can get money for things like that sometimes you can't get elsewhere. There's also the National Book Fund. This is a much more long-standing fund. It's been around a long time. And the way this grant works is you put in an application, and you can request a variety of new readers press, books and materials. And if you make the case for whatever project you're going to do, how you're going to use these materials and why that project is going to strengthen your program and help your learners, if you're approved, you receive those books and materials. And the thing worth noting here is organizational members don't have to pay the match fee. There's a 20% match fee, and that's assessed on the total value of the award. So if you were not a member and you received a grant, whatever, say the grant was worth, I don't know, $5,000, you would have to pay 20% of that value as a match fee to cover administration costs. Organizational members, which you guys are, don't have to pay that. The last fund is relatively new, not as new as the Literacy Opportunity Fund, but a few years old. And that is where you can apply to receive New Readers Press digital education materials. So I think bench prep, I'm not sure about the whole number of materials that are available, but that is a particular grant where you would be awarded in licenses to specific digital educational materials. And there's information on all of these on the website. Okay, professional development. This is another area in which we focus on trying to deliver to the field. A key component of that is our learning management system, which is called Education Network. And you can see the email, the web address right there. on Education Network, there is a vast array of courses, videos, downloadable PDFs that you can print, web links to other resources. It's really, I don't even know half of what's on there. It's so vast. And so there's a lot of activities and there's forums. So that is a very key area where you could sign up and create an account. The accounts are free. You want to add your organizational member number when you create the account, because that's how we know that you get access to resources that are just for members that are on there. And I'll cover those a little bit further into the presentation. But you can access, a great deal of stuff that's on there. And then if you set up the member account and add your member number, you can also get to all the member resources. Another key professional development offering we have is our conference on adult education. It is biennial. We just had our conference last year in October in San Antonio. I know Danielle was able to join us. I hope she had a good experience. I don't know how many else of you were there, but it seemed like it was very well received. People had a really wonderful time and learned a lot and made a lot of connections. So there's usually over 100 presentations, workshops. So there's shorter workshops. Sometimes there's more in-depth, like panel discussions, lots of networking opportunities, a welcome reception to kick off the conference, coffee breaks, lots of people where you can connect with your peers and talk about if you're encountering similar challenges and exchange information. And of course, our members get a reduced registration rate for that event. We are starting to work again, since it's biennial, we're just starting to look for what our next location will be for 2024. As soon as we have that information, we will share that with everybody so they can set aside their budget monies and hope to join us. We also do a great deal of advocacy. This could be anything from email action alerts. If we know important legislation's coming up, we might invite you because we want you to participate and help us let senators know how important it is to advocate and have money for adult literacy. Sometimes it's also a call for comments. I'm trying to think, I think the Citizens and Immigration, I think at one point did a call for comments. They were revising the citizenship test. And there was a call for comments period. So that's something some programs would be very interested in. So we would send an email and say, hey, there's a call for comments period. If you want to participate and weigh in, provide links so you can do that. We also offer tools to help you at the local level. If you're doing advocacy work, we have an advocacy toolkit. There's an impact report, and then we also have, most people are familiar with the PIAC data, which is a international collection of data on adult literacy. On our website, we have a link, we have a template so that you can take the PIAC data, which is now available by county level, so you can plot data that's just specific to your area. And we have a ready to use template, so you can plug that data into the template. You don't have to create it from scratch, and can use that in your advocacy work. And both of these are hyperlinks. So when you get the slide presentation, I think they're going to send you the slides afterwards. You can do a direct link right to the toolkit to download it. You can see the cover there in the background. And that'll take you to a page on the website, the PIAC data, where we have the chart, and you can download the template to use that. We're also always doing research to highlight the impact of low literacy adults, and to publish white papers that we put out to the field to help them be aware of sort of the latest issues. And lastly, we participate on the National Coalition for Literacy, which is an advocacy group that pulls together various literacy organizations to kind of create a unified voice when we're trying to speak to legislators and whatnot. Pardon me, I have a little, I'm just getting over a cold, so I apologize if I have to stop and hydrate. So now I'm going to jump into sort of member benefits, the benefits you have to be a member to get that are specific to you. There are many, so I'm going to cover the highlights, starting with professional development. So we offer a free tutor training. It consists of online modules that cover basic literacy and also ESL. So there's one entire course on basic literacy, and there's one on ESL, and there's several modules in each. I think, I can't remember the exact count, but I think there's maybe 12 in basic literacy and 14 or 15 in ESL. And if you have tutors you need to train, you can use the training and train them remotely, which was really important, of course, during COVID. Programs that were able to kind of go virtual could keep training tutors and just do it virtually. People can train from wherever they have a web link in the comfort of their own home. The training is completely adaptable. So when I say there's 12 modules or 15 modules in each, that doesn't mean you have to have people you're training take all those modules. It's designed to be adaptable. So what I always tell training coordinators to do is to take the whole course themselves, even if they skim it, just to get a sense for it. And then they can decide if they want to assign the whole course to their tutors. Maybe they only want to assign certain modules. Like they might say, I want you to do modules 1 through 3 and 7 and 8, and that's all you need to take. So again, it's meant to be completely flexible and adaptable. And for people who like to do in-person training, there's also a downloadable version of the training that more or less mimics the online course. Obviously, there's differences because you're versus one-on-one person interacting with a computer taking a course versus in person. But there's downloadable slides that you can are ready made, so you can do a presentation. And again, even there you can customize. You can probably add in your own slides and add your own resources. If you have a favorite resource you like to use, you can add in a slide and incorporate that into the training. It's meant to be adaptable. We also have a marketing toolkit. What the toolkit is essentially a bunch of little, very brief how-to guides pertaining to certain marketing practices. So there's one on email marketing, like how to use email marketing. There's one on SEO, if you're not familiar with that, that's search engine optimization. That's how all these people with web pages can make you find them. It's using this tool called SEO. It's how you set up your site so that, say somebody searches on adult literacy, obviously ProLiteracy, we would want to come to the top of those search results, and SEO is how you make that happen. There's also one on social media. There's one on infographics, but really just quick, very quick how-tos so that if you knew nothing about any of these, you could download and read that particular tool and have a better idea of how to go about using that particular tool to promote your program. And then we have webinars that are just for members. So these are called Learn and Share webinars, and these only members can attend, and they cover a variety of topics as well. So we've done webinars on branding. We've done webinars on digital assessment tools, distance learning, whatever we think the field might need, we would try to cover and present in a Learn and Share webinar. Okay, so instructional materials. Organizational members receive a 25% discount on New Readers Press publications. So anything for which New Readers Press is the imprint, meaning they create the publication, it's our own proprietary publication, you can receive up to 25% off of those publications. And there's a wide array of publications that they offer that would be included in the discount. Everything from high school equivalency test prep, whether it's reading and writing, ESL and citizenship, and more. Additionally, organizational members receive a 50% discount on News for You online renewals. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with News for You. This is basically this is the online version. They also have a print version, but you receive the discount on the online version of a newspaper. So it's covering all of the breaking stories like a regular newspaper, but it's written at a literacy level that adult learners who are struggling with literacy can read at. So I'm not sure the exact level. I don't know if it's third grade or what the level is, but it's really great because it's presented like a news publication, seriously. Because I know sometimes there's a struggle with adult learners. Things seem dumbed down and they might be juvenile or too childish. And this is respecting the adult learner and giving them really a news news, digital newspaper that they can read, but is still talking about current events, so they can stay informed. I think this is a great tool. And if you wanted to learn more about this, I could probably get my colleague Greg. He loves to talk about News for You and how to use it in a classroom. So if there was more interest, I could get him to do a presentation just on News for You alone about how I can use it. There's a lot, there's games, there's puzzles, just like the New York Times has a crossword. I think sometimes that has a crossword. So it's a really terrific tool. Okay. Also, as organizational members, you get 3 issues of Notebook a year. So there's a print edition that is mailed to whoever is the primary contact for your membership program. But additionally, we email the digital version to the primary contact and any associate members. So anybody who's listed on the account will get the email with the digital version. Notebook is an instructor tool. It has ready-made lesson plans in every issue. It has teaching strategies. And the great thing is, I mean, if you really needed a lesson and you were in a bind, you could just open an issue of Notebook and pull out an instant lesson. And it covers a variety of literacy needs. So what this particular issue, just in that snapshot, covers speaking, writing, technology, numeracy. There might be another that might cover reading, math, financial literacy, and in another, there might be health literacy. So it rotates the topics and it offers ready-made lesson plans and then suggestions on those lesson plans. And so it's quite a useful tool. A lot of programs really love it for that reason. And all the past issues are archived on Member Central, which is on Education Network, the learning management system I mentioned. So I'm going to get into that a little bit more. Okay, Member Central, I keep mentioning this. What is it? It's a special place on Education Network, our learning management system, where we have deposited resources just for members. So that is why when I talked about setting up your account, you'd want to have your member number be part of that, because that is how the system knows you are to receive access to member restricted resources. So as an example, if you log on, if you scroll down the page, there's a little bar there. It says Member Central, and you can click that to see all the resources, or you can click like just what's under Select Resources, but that includes all the archival issues of Notebook. Past Learn and Share webinars are on there as well. The toolkit is on there that I mentioned, the marketing toolkit. All of the past statistical reports. I don't know how many of you use our statistical report, but the annual statistical report, which contains a bunch of demographics that we've gathered from member programs about learner demographics, age, education level, instructor demographics, federal funding, all kinds of different interesting statistics are in that statistical report, and all the past reports are archived on Member Central. There's the issues of Notebook. As I said, it goes back several years. There's the toolkit. And as I mentioned, we had some additional ones. There's one on social media, email, student stories, storytelling. There's a variety. And also is the tutor training, because that's free to you as an organizational member. It is there on Member Central, so you can access it easily. You could go down to the Member Central area and then just click tutor training if you wanted to be brought directly to that. And inside there is both the online course for basic literacy and ESL. There's the downloadable materials. Okay, it's the workshop materials. It's called face-to-face workshop materials. Those are the downloadable ones. And then the item to the left, that's a notebook. If you wanted a training manual and you didn't want to put together your own training manual, you could purchase, they would print it through, we have an arrangement with Mimeo. You would just go through the Mimeo store and you could purchase the manual and have it sent to you. But you can always create your own too. Some people like to do that. Okay, so another benefit, which is germane to Education Network, is if you had staff or volunteers or learners that you want to get these accounts on Education Network, sometimes it's challenging to hand out the member number, make sure they remember the member number when they're setting up their accounts and they're adding it. You can request your own custom login page and forum. So what you do is you submit a request. We ask you to give us your logo and things like that. And then these take a little while to build, so it's not instantaneous. But what we'd do is create your own custom login page. And it would look similar to the one you see here. This is a sample of one that was built for Indie Reads member portal. And you get to pick from one of like 4 backgrounds, but it'll have your logo. It'll have a custom URL. So the first part will be proliteracyednet.org, but then it'll have a URL that would have your program name. It might have to be abbreviated if it's too long. So it's easy to remember. And then what you could do is, instead of sending people to build accounts through our website on EdNet, it's more simple. You could just send them to your own member portal and they can create an account right there. And what that does is that'll automatically load your member number. So it'll be a member account, no question, no hiccups, and they'll be able to access member resources right away. Okay. And if they already have an account, when they come back to the portal, they can just log in there. And then there's also a forum so that you could have resources to post and share with your team right on that forum. Okay. So those are some of the major high-level benefits. We're going to be having additional workshops on Education Network alone, where we're going to dive deeper into that. And also you requested one on Workforce Atlas. So we're going to dive deeper into that. But I did want to open the floor to see if anybody had any questions about any of the things I've covered here. Are we getting any questions, Alexandra?
Not that I can see.
No, Scuba shy. I just covered everything so thoroughly. Well, we can come back to, if you have a question, we can come back to that, but I did want to share some kind of web links that will help you. This is, of course, the ProLiteracy, link to the ProLiteracy website. This is a link to the information page about membership. This is the link to the page that talks all about Education Network, and it has links on there to create accounts, to log in. The login button is there as well. If you're interested in the custom login page, there's a video you can watch to learn more about that and see if it would really work for you and help your program. And if it does, then you can click this link to submit a request form. It's a short form. We just ask for some basic information. Who's going to be your moderator? Give us your logo. And again, I think you should hear something relatively soon, just confirming your request. But again, they do have to be built. So it can take a little bit of time. So just don't expect that it's not like a 24-hour or even a 48-hour turnaround. But the requests go through and they get built as requests are received. And then lastly, New Readers Press. This is the website for New Readers Press. You can get to it from the ProLiteracy site, but if you want to visit directly, you can go right there and explore some of the materials they have. And then I'm going to share some contacts with you that I think might be valuable. If you have questions anything about your membership benefits, please email us at membership@proliteracy.org. That's the best place to direct your inquiries. That's a shared mailbox that the membership team has access to, and it gets checked regularly. We are down a team member right now, so the request might not be responded to as fast as in the past, but it is the best place to make sure your request appears. There's a comment. Is there a comment in the chat? The fee to become a member. Well, the assumption is if you're in this presentation that you're part of a program that already has an organizational membership. Utah State Board of Ed paid for several programs in Utah to have an organizational membership in ProLiteracy. And I don't know if Alexandra has the reference list, but you could probably check with her. I'm sure your program is probably on there and get some information if you need it. So you're covered, you're in, you're in the club. So you can take advantage of all the things that I just talked about. Oh, we got another comment in the chat. Okay, terrific. So Education Network. I share this here. There's a support team because sometimes people get into difficulty with their EdNet accounts or they're having trouble navigating the site. That's understandable. To save you some trouble, because sometimes people like to email me at membership, that's fine, but I'm going to have to pass you to the technical team because I don't know how to fix all the things in the platform. So if you're having that kind of trouble, your best bet is to go right to EdNet, email ednet@proliteracy.org. They're very good about responding and helping you troubleshoot your issue. And then lastly, I just wanted to share in case you were interested, it's no obligation, but if you were exploring their New Eras Press site and you had questions about some of the publications and weren't sure how you would use them or if they were right for you, you are free to contact your New Readers Press rep in your area. It's Ken Barr, and I put his phone number and his email address there. You could just contact him out of the blue. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. He'd love to talk to you and share his knowledge about a product that you're asking about. There's no obligation, just to learn more, and he could probably advise you, and answer those questions you have about those products. So I think that's it. We'll go back to questions in case anybody has some additional, anything popped into their head. You have some questions that are occurring to you now. I will say, just to back up a little, we will be sending packets. We're very behind this year. Unfortunately, because we had our conference in October and we had an office move, Danielle and I were late in connecting to renew the memberships, but everything has been renewed. We're going to send the packets out. And so we send a packet of information. It's a letter with an ID card on it, has the member number, and it has a list of all the benefits and some other useful information there. That is always mailed to whoever is the primary contact of the program. So again, I think Alexandra or Danielle would have that list. If you're not sure who the primary is on your program, you can ask them what they have on file. And actually, I'm going to be sending Alexandra, I meant to do this before now, and I just didn't have a chance. I'm going to be sending Danielle a list of what I have currently. And I'm going to ask you guys to review it because there might have been some updates, and review that before I send the packet. So there are changes. I can get them to the right. Oh, you're there, Danielle. I didn't know if you were on. Hi.
I was a little bit late, but
that's okay. Yeah. So I'm going to send you a list so you can just review and see if it's still accurate. So that I can then get the packets out to everybody. So your primary contact is the person who should be sharing that information with you. We're still working on ways to sort of disseminate that information via email, electronically to the group. We haven't figured out how to do that yet. So your best source of information is always who that primary contact is. And my assumption is, who's ever listed on the account, would most likely know that person, but maybe not. So, but we can delve into that, but I'll send you that list, Danielle, as soon as I get a chance, so you can look it over and see if everything's accurate, if there needs to be changes, so I can get the database updated right away.
So would I be correct saying that the primary contact for each program is the one that's going to receive emails, the welcome packet, the quarterly notebook, physical copy?
Right. Yes.
But then anyone in the program can utilize the membership number and access other resources. So not everybody's going to get a physical copy of notebook. You may not be on the mailing list. So that would be up to the contact of the program, which is probably your program director, to disseminate out to their teachers.
That's correct. But everybody who's listed on the account, like as an associate member, will get the email with the digital copy of notebook. So even if, the director doesn't pass along that printed version, they'll know when it's out and they will have access to the digital version. So everybody gets that email. The critical difference is the mailed packet, with the ID card, goes to the primary contact. In normal cases, the renewal notice would go to the primary contact. That's not germane here because of the way we orchestrate things. And then like usually the annual member survey, like maybe specific kind of business materials might go to the primary contact, but anything that's emailed, the monthly newsletter, network news, the digital version of notebook, emails we send out, usually announcing when the statistical report is ready, things that, would be of value to the group, we send to everybody, the primary and the associates. So all those membership email communications should be going to all of you. And, if you're not getting them, it's entirely possible. You can email us at membership and ask us to check your status. You might have opted out. Sometimes people opt out and they don't realize when they opt out, if they opt out of everything, I can't even email them membership emails, because sometimes we send other emails, and there's within each email, if you're in your email and you go to look at your preferences at the bottom, there's like a little menu. And sometimes people opt out of everything, not realizing that that includes me. I can't email you anymore because of spam laws. We try to, really honor those. So if you say, don't talk to me via email, I can't talk to you. But if you're not sure, just email me at membership and I'd be happy to check your status and re-enroll you if I can. So happy to do that. Yeah, so we didn't have a lot of questions, Danielle. Did you have anything you're thinking about that you want to ask on behalf of the group or that I can address?
I came in a few minutes late, so I don't know everything that we hit, but I do love the idea of doing the custom login page. Is that something that we could do at the statewide level, or would it be by organization where we've got them set up as individual membership numbers?
You know what? I'll ask about that. It's right now it's designed to be at the organizational level because the member number preloads for that program. So like the sample we gave was for Indie Reads. So that organizational member number would preload there for Indie Reads. So I don't know if I'd have to talk to the EdNet administrator to find out if that would be possible to do one at a state level. I'm not quite sure how that would work. I mean, it's a great idea. It's a very interesting idea. So I will ask about that.
It would just be easier to push one link out than
sure
multiple, but
right.
But yeah, love that. And then I know you talked about New Readers Press. I don't know if you mentioned Voxy at all, because you have that relationship as well. And I didn't know when I first met Voxy that they were affiliated. So
yeah, I did not specifically mention Voxy. Voxy is one of our digital tools, just so you know. And what was the old name? I'm trying to remember. Or what's the new name? NGen. They call themselves NGen now. I believe that's, I don't want to misspeak because I don't know all the grant programs intimately, but I believe that might be one of the products that you could apply to receive through the Mobile Learning Fund that does digital materials. I'm not 100% certain, but I'd be happy to check on that. But yeah, Voxy is one of our New Readers Press products. If you visit the New Readers Press website, you'll find more information on that. And I did share your rep in Utah is Ken Barr, and I shared his contact information. So if people want to learn more about Voxy, I think there might even be a free trial. Again, don't quote me on that. I tried to speak about the other areas that I'm not an expert on, so I don't want to get myself in trouble here. But you could explore on New Readers Press. I'm sure there's information about Voxy on the New Readers Press side of the website. And then you could feel free to reach out to Ken Barr to ask for any questions about that. He might even be able to do a demo. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it's best to talk to the experts about that.
And Ken would love to talk to any of you. He's very
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. So, and I did mention earlier, but I want to repeat that we've got another upcoming webinar where we're going to dive more deeply into Education Network and sort of really get in there and see the breadth of resources and sort of cover just sort of the basics of account setup that sometimes causes people trouble. Just do a quick overview of that and then really get into exploring. And then we're going to have another one covering Workforce Atlas. And I did offer, and if people were interested, since people get a discount on News for You Online, if they were interested in learning more about that and how to use it, I know Greg, my colleague Greg, loves to talk about News for You. He's very passionate about it. And he does a great presentation on how the multitude of ways you can deploy it in a classroom setting or one-on-one. So that's out there as well. I would just have to check schedules with him. So there's more to learn. And again, any questions, any concerns, you can always email us at membership@proliteracy.org, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back to Alexandra.
Thank you, Michelle. That was awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to go through Education Network and Workforce Atlas. So those links are also on the PDF that I sent out. We are recording this session, and we'll get this session uploaded to our YouTube channel within the next few days. Try to get the slides as well, to you, because Michelle had some really good links in there. So we'll get those to you next few days or so, and I hope to see y'all next week.
Yeah, I look forward to next week's presentation. I hope everybody enjoys it. So I really appreciate you having me, and it's been a pleasure talking to you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good evening.